So now let's talk about the three generals who would serve on this expedition that would eventually be star-crossed, of course, from Athens to Sicily. One of the big problems, of course, was that the two main generals, the ones who had most of the political connection and prestige in Athens, Nicias, the conservative, and Alcibiades, the rather dandyish progressive, that these two were pretty much at loggerheads, as we talked about back with the 417 BC incident with Hyperbolus that led ultimately to his ostracism. Nicias and Alcibiades did not see eye to eye on very much. So because they both were trained and educated military officials, the question came up of exactly which one should be picked to go on this expedition. Alcibiades was, of course, the one who promoted the expedition most strongly, but he had a number of political enemies because of his very way-out manner, and so not everybody in Athens trusted him or thought that he should be in charge of an expedition on his own. Nicias, on the other hand, was the much better trusted general, but some were concerned that Nicias had this rather retiring personality and may not be aggressive enough to carry out such a major expedition on his own. So the decision was made to put the two of them together. Probably not one of the Athenians' wisest decisions. And as we'll talk about in the very next video, there was a particular aspect of Alcibiades that was not taken into account. Alcibiades had a tendency to live it up. And part of that involved getting into mystery cults, which were usually secluded religious organizations that required initiation for entrance and which absolutely required at all costs no divulging of any occurrences, any of the proceeds going on within the borders of the mystery cult. Alcibiades had a bad reputation for breaking into mystery cults and then chatting with people over beer or later on, or wine or whatever, what happened in the cult itself. This is going to now play a major role in the next incident that's going to be the first bad omen that will signal the disaster oncoming with the Sicilian expedition. Besides Nicias and Alcibiades, of course, we need somebody else. We have Lamachus. Lamachus was an old war hero, and he had also served previously in Sicily and was therefore fairly familiar with the layout. So the intent here was that we have the war hero and we have the two competitors who were basically there to keep each one from getting too powerful over the other, so that neither one of them would ever potentially pose a threat of tyranny back in Athens. So this was the group of three that was now in charge of running the expedition. Just on the basis of this decision, one can sense that this does not bode well for the outcome of this expedition. Okay, now we're going to discuss the affair that occurred that caused the expedition almost to founder at its very start. See you next video.